This is my first video, just going over the first trades I took for this new account. The first trade I took was actually earlier this morning. As you can see, it's September 19th. This is later in the day. I'm doing the recording a bit after the trade. I'm a bit late on this, but I will get better at it. So basically, I'm going to go over a trade recap as to what I took and why I took this trade. And what happened was I took a long on the US 30. And the reason I took a long on the US 30 was actually because if you break down on the 5-minute, so we'll stop that. I did a little bit of testing to see where I could see price going, and I just followed the price structure until it hit my confirmations. So if you take this away right here, I believe I entered in somewhere like right here, and I think that's actually close to my exact entry. And the reason I entered in on this trade is because after this long drop, you see a break in formation. So basically a drop here, and then from here you see break the high, so it's a higher high, higher low, came up and it made a higher high right here. So naturally I think it would want to go retest this low that it had made just previously. So what I actually ended up doing was taking that high, going down to the bottom of it. We're actually taking this high. Yeah, it was this high right here. Coming down right there. And coming down and actually finding out that even down to the 1 minute, the 1 minute chart, you can see as break in structure continues. So from here, it only takes 4 points to have a valid market structure. So from here, we can count this as 1, 2, 3, 4. So naturally, I expected it to come down and test these areas right here, which also, if you fibbed to the previous high, was a high area for buys, anywhere in kind of like this range right here was going to be a really good area to enter for buys, as long as, you know, the stop was pretty tight as well. So for me, I set an order somewhere around this 50%, and I put my stops below this low. So I actually think my entry may have been a little bit higher. Yeah, something like this. And I took profits when it hit right here, when it came and tested this previous high. Now, obviously, this is a missed opportunity because it just decided to take off and smash through my full take profit. But I did get a nice little 1 to 2 out of it. Now, if I would have held, I would have made quite a substantial amount more because it's just decided to take off. But I am happy with the profits that I did take off of this, even though I closed here. And closing here does hurt, because if I would have held, but you know, it is lessons learned. It didn't really give you an opportunity to re-enter. I guess you could have re-entered here if you were a brave soul. But with it testing this level right here that I had marked out, and you say, why'd you mark this out? Well, it's the last candle to close that forms a level, so like a range, like right here, you could call it. Something like that. Like a range right there. So it's the bottom of that range. And so I marked out the bottom of that range and said, you know, that's where I expect price to go. And on top of that, the 161% was a good little another area where you could take profits. But, you know, it did come up to my full take profits, which was about 200 points, looks like. Just around 200 points was going to be my ultimate take profit. It ended up smashing through even that. So would have been a good trade, but I will keep you guys updated on the trades that are to come. And yeah. Alright guys, I'm back. Coming a little late in the morning. I've already been looking at the markets, but I just decided to enter in on these trades. This is on the euro. I took these entries because they were testing previous lows down here and rejected off of it, and I took a couple trades, just two of them. The stops on them are pretty short, so 8 pips there and 16 pips there. My take profit is roughly up here, or at 1.0 flat, really. Essentially just trying to go 1-to-1 or maybe a 1-to-2 here. They have the full potential to drive all the way back up to these highs, all the way up here, which would be absolutely insane. I don't think I'm going to be able to hold them that long, but part of the reason why I took these trades is when you break it down, there's a lot of candles over here and here that give good symbols where price can go based off of candles like this and this. And then if you break it down even lower on the smaller time frames, candles like right here, like this would be a good entry point, and vice versa as well. Going the other way, this would be a good place to take profit, which is similar to what I was saying. Or even right here would be a good place to take profit. So I did take trades on the euro, and I'm not really looking to trade anything else. I'll just be holding these trades until they either hit stop or they hit take profits. So I actually just closed out on this trade. I closed out up at this level right here. I took a 1% profit on the trade. You can see right here, it's 1%. And the reason I did that was because I didn't like how it was playing out. Although it probably has room to go up more. I just want to take my 1% and get out of the markets in and out within less than an hour, really less than 30 minutes, and just feeling better. Maybe I'll get a re-entry or a retest this level and re-enter in later. I'm going to be taking a long on gold. It's coming down to retest this level that I have marked out. And ultimately, I think it's a strong level. We could see a lot of resistance off of this. I'm not risking too many pips. I believe it's only like 17, 18 pips, something like that. And, I'd like to see gold potentially retest levels like up here. I'll mark them out. Potentially something like right here. Or potentially something on the higher time frames. A little bit over here. Something along those lines. This probably won't be too long of a trade, and looks like I may get stopped out very shortly. But I'll be back if I get stopped out or if I am hitting take profits. I just noticed at the end of that last video, I didn't show you guys where my first take profit was, or my second take profit, or why. So this would be my first take profit in this area right here, around 1667. And the reason why is because I think that there's an imbalance right here in the market, and I see a potential to reject off of this level, come up, break structure, test highs, and then from here, and that is already 60 pips, so like a 1-to-3-ish ratio right here. And if it does react here and starts to reject, I'll take profits. But if not, the second place I'd like to see it come is all the way up here, all the way close to like 1675, 1680, because that seems to be a really strong spot. Just in some of the higher time frames, you can see some equal highs here, 1, 2, 3. We could potentially see a break of this structure and then to come up. So the next levels to look for would be 1675. which would be right here. And you go down here, and you find more specifics. So 1675 would be my second take profit, another 60 pips out there, and then ultimately to test the equal highs that have been made, well, multiple times, tested multiple times, sorry, 1, 2, and 3, potentially breaking them. So long term, I am a bit bullish on gold, but we'll have to see how it plays out at these key levels that I have marked out. These are kind of some of the profit targets that I'm aiming for. Ultimately, I'd like to see it come up and test this level, and to get an entry down here and hold it that long would be pretty crazy for me. So I'm just gonna wait and see how this plays out. All right, I actually ended up closing gold right here. As you can see, I actually took some more profits on it. Yeah, I closed the price at 1665 or right around that area, right around here. The main reason I closed is because on the 1 minute it failed to break these highs. This high that was set right here, it failed to break it. So potentially, it did break structure though. So it did fail to break this low. So I kind of want to see it come back down and see if it'll break this low again. I may look for another entry, and then we'll be looking to take it up to 1670 or potentially even longer, as I've stated before. Alright guys, I'm back. Just kind of analyzing why I entered in on this trade right here. The main reason why I entered in on this trade is because I saw orders were filled over here. So the bank had a candle that qualified as an institutional candle. I believe it came back up and filled its orders. And then I also believe that this right here was a candle that was created by institutions to push price up to reach that price point. So now that they finally resolved this position, they needed to come up and resolve this position. So when it comes up and taps into this zone, I entered into a trade. Now I entered in while it was moving, so it kind of filled me in a little bit late. But still, just put the stop 20 pips above, and I put the take profit at a couple of other areas that I'm looking for it to go test. I also have this in confluence with FOMC coming out in just 5 minutes, and I believe that the dollar will gain a lot of strength. I don't really see a lot of downside on the charts, technically, on the analysis of it. Now, I could be wrong, I could just get immediately stopped out, or it can go down and potentially hit even lower targets that still need to be filled even further down from this one. So technically, my full take profit would be 150 pips compared to 70 pips, or potentially, 96 pips. So my full take profit is actually going to be set at 150 pips right here. All for a 17, 18 pip stop. So I'm reaching for almost a 1 to 10. I don't know. It's pretty close to a 1 to 10, so we'll call it like a 1 to 9 or 1 to 8 trade right here on gold. Now the reason on a bigger time frame I think it could come up and just come to these levels as well is because this level was filled up here if they had candles up here, and then it has 3 touches right here. So potentially we'll see longs coming in after it hits levels down here, just to try to take out anybody who's shorting here or anybody who's shorting here. Everybody has their stops probably based at around like here, maybe a little bit higher, like 1685 maybe. Yeah, anywhere from the 1682 to like the 1684 range. That seems like a good range to put a stop if you were taking trades down here. Maybe above this candle. Yeah, 1685. So 1685 is a good place to put stops. And So I see a potential for it to come down to these levels, or to come up and then come up to, 1690, to fulfill these candles over here that have been pushed up before price just dropped dramatically. So with that being said, I'll keep you guys updated on how this trade goes. As for my other trades that I did take, I did try a couple of more buys on Euro and AUD the other day. I lost about $1,000 from that, and my gold trade that I closed is right here. So these are the only two trades that I took. I believe this was like a 4-pip stop, and this one was a 6-pip stop. So they both got stopped out. Unfortunate, but it is what it is, and I should be fine. I'm only risking less than 0.5%, about 1/4% on this trade to go for nearly 2%. So I will keep everybody updated on how this trade goes. So this trade is taking off in my direction. It's hit my TP1. So I'm ready to move to taking just profits here. And this is pretty volatile. I may close. I just want to keep seeing this candle move down, test these lows right here. Perfect. Testing these lows right here. Now I want to see them break, and I want to see it go down and test even these lows down here. See it on a higher time frame. You know what, I'm happy taking nearly 2%. Ooh, can we get to 2%? If we can get to 2%, I'll close. You know what, I'm happy taking nearly $5,000, and just that short time frame of taking that trade today. So off of that one trade, I risked about 1/4%, and I made nearly 2%. I am about what I risked. I risked $800. I'm about $800 off from 2%. And I'm actually glad I closed, because you see how it came down here, filled these orders, and now it's coming back up a little bit. This is kind of what I expected, but I never reverse trade. I never do that. The trend is down overall, so we were looking for shorts. We're not trying to buy until we see clear signs of reversal. Alright, I'm back with another trade. This is the end of the week. This is a Friday. Usually you don't want to trade Fridays, but we're here with the US 30. We're hitting a good little supply zone right here, a test at the bottom. I really want to see a test of this level up to test these highs right here, or potentially even higher to test something like this, or up here. Now, if it goes all the way up to the top, that'd be an amazing 160-point trade, and I'm only risking about 12 points, which would be 1 to 4, or, sorry, 1 to like 11, not 4. Don't know why I got 4, but 1 to 11 is a pretty good trade. It looks like I'm about to be stopped out here, so we'll actually see. Okay, a little bit of a rally here, but I'll be holding this trade for as long as I possibly can, hopefully trying to get to my first take profit. I'll come back when I have an update on the trade for you guys. Alright, I was just taken out of this trade right here. Looks like it's going to be pushing even lower. But basically my thought process behind this was, I thought I saw an accumulation phase right here, where it could test these lows, maybe fail to break. It did rally for a little bit, and then it came back down with a lot of force and just kind of broke through really strong. But I did think I saw a level right here, just kind of trying to hold price up. I was wrong, but that's perfectly fine. You know, everybody has losing trades. We were going for a 1 to, potential, 14 or something, 13, right? So no real harm done. Alright guys, this is just a recording kind of showing you guys my thought process behind my trade a little bit more in depth. I was using a method called the Wyckoff method, and basically the structure format for it is I actually have a little thing pulled up for it. Is this little schematic right here, where it talks about in accumulation phases that this is what price will do. It'll first have like a preliminary supply or support, whatever you want to call it, seller's climax, an automatic rally or an automatic reaction, a secondary test, and then it'll kind of range for a little bit. It'll also try to break the highs of the rally and then also test in phase B again, a secondary test to the bottom, maybe even breaking a little bit. Then it'll range a little bit more, then you'll see a spring and then a test of that support, and then all the way a push up to resistances. Now when you look at this, kind of look all the way over here, and you can see right here preliminary supply, and then you'll see here the seller's climax, then you'll see the automatic rally, then you'll see a secondary test, kind of some ranging, breaking the highs before. Remember what we were just talking about? A secondary test in phase B, some ranging, then it comes down. This is where I took my trade. I was wrong. I thought this was going to be the spring, and then a test, and then up. But this was the spring. Spring broke the lows, and obviously I was just impatient and didn't wait for this. And then the test here, which I was waiting for it to come down a little bit lower, and then it just kind of took off. And then the actual spring all the way up to my first take profit, which was all the way marked up already up here. So I would have made 100 pips had I just widened that, and if I had entered in at the perfect timing, which would have been on this test, because you never can guess bottoms like this. If I would have entered in even like right here, it would have been basically the same trade, like 1, 2, I would have put it below the low, so like 15 pips to 120, somewhere between like 1 to 7, 1 to 8, or something like that. It's pretty close to a 1 to 9, but even then, that's just kind of my thought process behind it. And as you can see, it played out almost exactly how I thought it was going to play out, going to my first TP, and potentially we'll have a pullback into a take to our second TP. So we're just kind of waiting on that. I'll look to develop some areas of support and kind of find the levels that I'm looking to re-enter at. But with news coming out in about 45 minutes or 30 minutes now, we have some data coming out for the US dollar. I would like to see how price reacts to that before I enter in on any more trades. So I'll be keeping an eye on this and keeping you guys updated with what I'm thinking and kind of why I'm taking these trades. Alright, I just entered in on the euro. And the main reason I entered in on the euro is because I saw this two bottoms right here. So price came down, tested, and then it started to form a bullish pattern. So you can start to see, higher high, higher low, came up, it failed to touch the higher high, also failed to break the lower low, or the higher low, came up, created a new higher high, and now is coming down to test this low. I entered here because mainly on the 15-minute, that's where this doji is, and right at the top of that doji is also where the moving average is, and that's just a good indicator. And I just put it below the previous lows, hoping to see it come down a little bit more maybe, and then potentially take it to TP1, which is about 53 pips right here, and then hopefully even further, which would take it to 70 pips. So overall, this would be a 1 to 5 or a 1 to 7 trade, because I'm only risking about 11 pips, 12 pips, which is roughly, you know, 0.5%. So I'm looking to take it up. The very first take profit I would have is right around probably this area right here. I'd want to see it come touch the tops of that spot right there. But I will keep you guys updated with how this trade goes. Looks like it's going to go touch my stop, but I will keep you guys updated. Alright, I just entered in again. Same stop, except this time it has a little bit more support, and the news is being released in 1 minute. So with that news being released, and we're seeing some resistances, hoping to take it the full take profit all the way up, about 50 pips. We'll see how this candle ends. Probably end in like a doji with a rejection in the 1 minute, hopefully. It's pushing upwards, some pretty good stuff. Okay, candle's gonna end. Price pushing upwards. Oh, we just get absolutely taken out. Coming down to test these lows, it looks like. Lots of rejection here. Huge rejections. I'm probably going to enter in if it comes back down to test these. Test these with like 6 pip stop. Okay, it entered in a little late. That's perfectly fine though. I'm accepting this stop, this risk. Look to touch these highs. Maybe a little bit higher, something like this. This looks really good. Especially if it rejects off these lows. If it rejects off these lows, we could potentially see it come touch again my full TP. But I will come back to you guys when the trade is coming to a close. Alright, I don't like the way it's looking, so I'm just gonna close now. Yeah. Yeah, it was gonna hit my stop anyways. So that's just how that trade went. So overall, lots of losses today. Part of the reason why I don't like to trade on Fridays, but is what it is. I guess I'll just catch you guys next week. So I actually ended up taking another entry on the US 30. I entered in down at the bottom here. I like what the candle pattern is throwing up on the 5 minute. I think it has the potential to retrace and potentially touch previous highs or go to my full take profit, like as I've mentioned before. I'm going to be holding this trade, and then I'll just be letting you guys know when I get out of it. Alright, I decided to take profits a little early just to recoup some of the losses I had today. I don't plan on trading anymore today, so I'm just going to be... Overall, I believe I lost... Let's do a custom period for today only. Let's see. Yeah, today I lost 1/3%, so overall still down, but a lot better than what we were down. We were down almost 1.5%, so this is a lot better. Alright, Alright, I know I said I was done trading for the day, but with some news about to come out, with the Fed speaking, I actually ended up taking a trade right here on a really small time frame, and I took it up to the top and then quickly exited, just because here on the 1 minute you can actually see there's a huge bearish spike. I ended up getting in right at the bottom of this candle, took it to the top of the level, and then exited out. As it broke out, I was already out of the trade, and then it just completely dropped, smashing through my level that I had marked out of where I expected it to go.